So that's why when God makes a baseball field, it relates to Apostle Paul versus further north Glenview versus east. How would you know what was Apostle Paul in football versus the lake versus the other St. Paul was actually the woods that I went to. So how would you know if it's the real Paul? If someone says, I can't walk down these terrain unless I see something from Brother Sanders, that will be the rocks on the floor that I threw behind the thing because I didn't collect another rock because I only need one, because that's why I got them in different months, because that's how I know that if I collect this rock, it doesn't belong to the CTA man, because they claim the rocks came from a place where I can't identify what church is from, because they claim that you can't make a church with holy some rocks of some, because God will get offended because they're eligible for a demonic angel that's not associated with a black attack on human face and luxury of socks and shirt type that someone claims that someone can't wear, because they claim they're offended as someone who goes to a place who says that someone gnashes their teeth, because they claim they knew all along that God was in control, but when they try to lock me in a psych hospital, they claim that God wasn't working for the terrain that they claim was not, they already existed before time, that they say it's not true, that they say that they wanted to get an angel for themselves stalking someone because they couldn't get that angel at a time that they dated people and said that it was important in the future of a time, still to this day after a child was born, because they claim when Apostle Paul, he cast out a curse. So how could you cast out a curse if you have a curse? How could you be seen in a box when you want to put someone in a box? How could you preach the word, but say that people preach the gospel under authority to get access to be free, because you claim you don't do what it takes to say that someone will say if God doesn't want someone to see why someone says they're not eligible, why would someone put it on America to show God if he gave me something, I would take it? Because, yeah, nigga could be fatigued. Yeah, nigga could get tired after a long walk of the sun. But really, if a turtle stayed in the shade, nobody is going to be able to beat him at eating like a turtle. Nobody is going to be able to wear his share like a turtle. So, as some people survive by taking things from other people that don't belong to them. So, if God says, how would someone take something and say that's how God does it? Because he's allowed by his Old Testament disciple. But why would someone say that the extra space didn't respond to the young man? Because they claim they're trying to put a bank here that's not associated with the church, where they could bring people to this area, because they don't want to respect the school that they say is under law of not representing something that they claim they want an angel that's not related to people who point things out in social, just in case. I don't point this place out saying that it's the scariest school, because when people stand counsel, it means when people have the spirit, it's a big difference, you see. Even if someone was eligible for Jonah versus Samson, they're still eligible to not be in the box of someone who wasn't recognized in the Bible, or a cartoon character who is not associated with how someone says that character is necessary to show what people are capable of, to identify the main character, to a list of things that they claim they want to reproduce, that is not associated to the freedom of a tree, that they say people can't sue them for being online. What they said the behavior of someone is because they're trying to make a market to bring people to a place outside of the local school that people can't record their belief socially about why they can't stand, because they might be afraid of the local speaker who says that he's a greater speaker than her, but if it wasn't for him, she wouldn't have that power to have that position, you see. So that's how it goes. So real men are born free. If someone wants to make a speech, then make a speech. But what if there was Chinese men that in the congregation and he said, "Oh, I want a spiritual shift"? How would someone get a Roman angel if someone claimed they were trying to cast the devil in the shade on someone improperly using employment, but they claim when a man was seeing a spiritual shift in love, they might got offended at the love of Apostle Paul, because the mystery of woman is great. So if someone tried to put a boundary on him about his image of woman, so he would have to put an extra space, because I would have to show how he doesn't want an angel to be released from this area without being associated to the Old Testament before the 24 walk and the South Shore after Samson, because sometimes people God doesn't allow his people to see things that is not legal to the local CTA man, because he has a big train, and Samson, he puts big pillars off the wall because he claims that people who have the spirit of God, they do things in a way that they don't want to get put like a German brigade. Because if I praise the Lord, I said, Lord, get me out the box of property that says that I'm ineligible. Get me out the box of property that someone says they can have power to put a boundary on me. Because if I walk down the force of the power. I want to see a devil that's not from the Home Depot to be released. To how someone claims they is part to get the best of people, but they claim they want to release an angel that they don't have because the part of taking things that is not theirs is not releasing, casting the beam out their own way. You see? So that's why if someone preached the gospel, how would someone know if they're eligible for a shift of the rock that I threw before the car crash? Because Samson, he might be a better judge than Elisha, and Paul, he might be more prophetic than the church. So how would someone use the name in the Bible to say that they have a character of a bishop? How would they say that there's going to be an angel release that's not from the nature that they claim? They try to put a boundary on someone, saying they won't return the angel if there's a shift related to the metro train where there's a layman after the Home Depot that was never seen before. You see, so that's how it goes. So that's why when people say that they don't want to be put in a box, how would the Lord identify someone who pops up in front of somebody who someone claims the local institution has enough Christianity to put their box of things on the Bible outside of a tribe in a group of people that is not organized in a way that claim that God can't recognize the difference of race and substance, that they claim is not related to the flagpole that popped up at a certain time, that they claim is not related to a belief, that they try to scam people using a name that they won't put on the line for something they claim that they're not eligible for. Because when the truck was there, I was going to throw the rock there, but why didn't I do it? Because I have wisdom, because some of these guys are more employed, because they know that when they work there, some of the people who go there, that after I went on my 24 walk after Home Depot 2020, because I used to go to Home Depot in Virginia before the Walgreens. So why is it that if I go to Walgreens, I might want to have that angel release, but not if it's in the property of employment where someone gets put in a box where they claim they're employed because they claim that they want to use an angel to say that something is shifting for them because they're in a box that they say is not related to how people can't be in a box, and say that they use a name that they want to take out of box because they claim there's a gravity there that they can't get out that box, but they want to put someone in a box using a name that they claim is not eligible for freedom in the distance, that they say that they want to get a spiritual shift in a box, you see. So that's why uh, if I use a name at a certain time to get a shift that someone claims is impossible, what name would I use outside of a box that someone claims is impossible to identify them in a way that they're out of the Home Depot and the whole organization and one employment? How would they be getting paid money that other people don't get paid unless they want a box or they wanted to get a spiritual shift after others that they say they can't get out that box? Because if a leader is in a box like a Bible, how would someone get out that box if an employment is saying that it's impossible to get out of their box while they're being employed and they think it's someone else?